Get ready, it's time for the podcast voted most likely to make you say, "What the flock?" It's the Talking Pools show. And here are your hosts, the dysfunctional duo of myth-debunking pool pros, Rudy Stankiewicz and Andrea Nannini.
Hold up, wait a minute.
Hey guys, it's Rudy Stankiewicz with the Talking Pools podcast, and I'm joined here with my co-host.
Hello, I'm Andrea Nannini.
So this week we're going to it's kind of neat. We roll off of the last episodes just a little bit, and last week we talked about pool myths, and we did a little bit the week before as well with the Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, right?
Yep.
What are all these myths really myths? What are the hacks that people are coming up with designed to do? Let's call them hacks. We'll give them the benefit of the doubt because that's what people are actually trying to achieve here. I mean, some of them are myths, but the goal here is to get rid of
the algae, clear the pool up. A lot of people are doing the having cloudy pool issues, green pool issues.
The vodka.
Yep.
The bounce dryer sheets.
No!
So let's talk about the ways we would handle those things. I mean, you approach a pool, you see that the water's green. What's the first thing that you do?
The first thing I do is make sure the filter's on and running, and then I worry about the chemicals. As long as everything seems like if the water doesn't seem like it's moving, obviously I know that I have a filter issue. I need to clean it. Maybe something else going on with the circulation. And then I just try to work on testing the chemicals and getting them in balance. And most importantly, chlorine, because that's what's really going to kill the algae.
So filtration, circulation,
chemicals,
and disinfectant.
Yes.
Are the big three.
Yes.
And I agree with you. That's what I would do as well. And we did talk a little bit about different shades of green, right? Not 50 shades of green, but at least 4 or 5 shades of green. And that you kind of learn a little bit, or we kind of determine how we're going to go about treating the pool, the patient, because the pool person, whether it's, pool guy, pool gal, the pool professional, that is the doctor on site, bedside with the patient.
Yes, with
correct?
The stethoscope.
So these decisions have to be made poolside. There's no cookie cutter format that works exactly the same for every single pool.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, you have the stores where you can take your chemical or your pool sample in and get chemical readings and get recommendations based off of that, which works for some people, which, it works for some people.
But it doesn't work for everybody because not everybody's pool is the same.
Every pool is different. That's right. So the person at the counter, the person behind the counter isn't necessarily going to ask you, how many hours do you run the pool? How often do you clean the filter? They should. And some of them do. I don't want to crap on, any retail people or anything like that, because I actually have a local pool store that I go to every once in a while to buy chemicals and get, certain things like that. So definitely not trying to trash any stores.
Well, I think the bigger problem is just because I was in retail for a long time. I think the bigger problem is just the transfer of information. Can the customer actually adequately describe to you what's going on so that you understand it? That's one of the big challenges. And the fact that, to be honest with you, a lot of people just lie.
Mm-hmm.
You don't always get the whole truth. Sometimes you get partial information. Sometimes it's just completely wrong. So it's kind of hard for the most part, I think people do the best they can describing a situation, but people also don't want to feel like they did something wrong.
Right.
So, and that's when you'll get folks who fabricate information. But for the most part, you get the truth. And even with that, though, it's very, very difficult to describe something that you've never seen before. Something that compares to nothing that you know. I mean, right. I know because, I just went through this whole surgery thing with my back and the pain that I was feeling. It's like one of those things when they ask you to match the pain to the face. This is the worst pain that it could possibly be.
Right.
Well, I would imagine getting shot with a gun hurts more.
Yeah.
So obviously it's not going to be a 10.
Right.
So can you describe what the pain feels like? No, I've never felt that kind of pain before.
Well, that makes
all
sense.
Silly questions. So, all right. So you go to the pool and you see that it's green. you test the water, you get the water chemistry into balance, clean the filter if it's needed, right? When do we clean a filter?
Clean the filter 10 psi above clean. So when you need to wash you need to watch your pressure gauge, make sure it's functioning. It's actually really important. People let that go a lot. But then you clean your filter, you put it all back together, turn it on, you record what that PSI is. And then the next time it goes up 10 PSI above that is a good sign to clean the filter.
So anytime it raises 10 PSI above its normal operating pressure, we want to clean the filter. And that's the best way to make sure that our water is flowing correctly, that we're getting the filtration, at least, that we're supposed to.
Yeah.
Circulation there's a lot to do with circulation right there as well, because obviously the higher the pressure, the slower the water moves.
The dirtier the filter,
Correct.
The higher the pressure, yes.
So, but we do also deal with then placement of return jets, things like that are beyond our control. So we can't really worry about moving those right now. I do have to tell you this while we're on the subject because you brought it up. So I went live on Facebook earlier
to
talk about us. I did.
Oh, I missed it.
Talk about us doing this podcast. And one of the things I did was stumble on your last name.
Yes.
Like a tongue twister. It just came out, Andrea. And I apologize because compared to my last name, your name is so simple.
Well, it rhymes with panini.
It's
super easy.
I got totally stuck on it. Anyway, so it happened. It's there. You can watch it and laugh later.
That's fine. I will.
So, all right. So we go to this green pool. We interrupt this broadcast with a special news bulletin. All across the country, from coast to coast, unlicensed, uninsured pool service companies are popping up left and right. It is literally a pandemic of its own during a pandemic. These individuals may have the best of intentions in mind. Unfortunately, they are going out into the field without the proper training, without the proper experience, and without the proper credentials. In undercutting the market, they are actually damaging and devaluing the service that is offered. This creates a huge problem for other pool service companies as they do lower the market value of swimming pool service as a whole. It also burns many customers, many potential customers in the process, customers who are trying pool service for the first time and do end up going with one of these folks, splash and dash, dump and run type of fellows that do not have the proper education. And when they have a bad job done over the course of the summer, unfortunately, they relate that to other pool service companies and think that's what pool service is, when in fact it is not. Pool owners should do their due diligence. If you believe you have seen one of these undercutting splash and dash pool service companies, you should run in the other direction as fast as you can, screaming like a little girl. We will now go to Andrea Nanini out in the field. It doesn't look like our correspondent, Andrea Nanini, out in the field is answering the phone at this point in time. I am hoping that she has not been abducted by one of these splash and dash pool fellows. That is something that we always risk.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system. 772.
Unfortunately, Andrea is not available. She has been abducted by alien pool service companies that undercut the market and damage the market and potentially don't know what they're doing in people's backyards. And they are now apparently driving around in their trucks and they are abducting legitimate pool service personnel so that they are unable to perform the jobs that make your pools look absolutely great and beautiful.
Greetings, pool owner. I have a deal for you.
They are not the pool service company for you. You want a professional who knows what they're doing, somebody who is experienced, and somebody who is qualified to do so. You should accept no less. This is your pool. This is your backyard. This is your family. This is your children. This is your family's safety at risk. Ultimately, what usually occurs when this happens, people have the best of intentions, I'm sure. They wake up in the morning, they don't know what to do with their lives, but they own a truck, so they throw a pole in the back of it, and then all of a sudden, poof, they're a pool service, and they're out there in the field servicing pools. Unfortunately, in not charging enough for these qualifications, they also end up running short on money necessary to treat your pool, as they had not charged the customer enough in the first place. I know from a homeowner's perspective, this sounds like a great deal. However, it will end up biting you on the ass in the long run, giving pool owners a foul taste in their mouth. For pool service companies, we call this BPOS. That is B as in boy, P as in Peter, O as in Oscar, S as in Sierra. BPOS, which actually stands for Battered Pool Owner Syndrome. Yes, Battered Pool Owner Syndrome is an actual condition where a pool owner becomes burnt and had a bad run with a pool service company and then suddenly think all pool service companies are evil. I would like to set the record straight. We are not the devil. We are actually professionals who are well trained in what to do in your backyard and how to make sure that your water is clean, clear, and safe and healthy for swimming. I will now try to get a hold of John Poma. John Poma is the alum king of Central Florida. We're going to see if we can get him on the line for a second. Hopefully he has not been abducted by these pop-up undercutting pool service aliens as well. Let's see if we can get John on the line. The phone is ringing.
Hey.
Hey, yes, John, it's Rudy with the Talking Pools podcast. How are you? You are live on the air.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, we're talking today about pool service companies popping up and undercutting the market, and I just wanted your thoughts on that and your experience and if you've seen that in your area.
Pretty much. Just, it all depends. I see rates as low as $75 a month.
$75 a month?
That's what they advertise.
How were they actually able to service pools at that price?
That I have no idea. I refuse to take anything that low.
So
I've been asked to match, and there's just no way. I won't do it.
I mean, I can't even imagine they can pay for the chemicals to do the job correctly.
Yeah, I wouldn't see how they could either.
So let me ask you this. What normally happens to the customers who take on these pool service companies that undercut the market? What's the long-term result of a undercutting we're calling them swimming pool service undercutting aliens?
From what I see, pools end up turning green. They'll drop that service and look onto another service and go through it just over and over again. Same system. They may pay a little bit more. They may find another one at the same price.
Are you familiar with the term BPOS?
Not offhand, no.
BPOS, a mental condition that a homeowner goes through after they've hired a pool service company that undercuts the market and then ultimately burns them, leaving a bad taste in their mouth for pool service companies. It's known as Battered Pool Owner Syndrome.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
So have you noted, now another thing I wanted to ask you about, because I just started noticing this morning with Andrea. Andrea has apparently been abducted by one of these undercutting pool service companies to clear out of the market knowledgeable personnel so that they can work their way in, charge no money, and offer poor service. Are you aware of this?
Not that I'm aware of, no, but I could see that happening.
So you're saying, but you should certainly keep an eye out for yourself, as you are a reputable pool service company who charges the going rate in your market, correct?
Yes.
So that these aliens may show up at one point in time and try to abduct you as well. What would you do if you seen one of these aliens right now looking you in the eye, trying to abduct you?
Yeah, that one's tough. I don't know exactly how to answer that one.
Understood. All right, everybody. That was John Poma. John Poma down. He is the alum king of, what is it, South Central Florida? Is that what we're going to call it?
Yeah, Central Florida.
Central Florida. The alum king of Central Florida, John Poma. John, the name of your company, let's get a shout out for you.
A+ Pool Service.
A+ Pool Service. Thank you, John. We appreciate you.
All right. Thank you.
Hello, Paulette.
Hey, Rudy. How are you?
Good. I'm on the Talking Pools podcast, right? And I wanted to.
Okay.
But I needed to ask you a couple of questions. I was doing a podcast about people undercutting the market and driving down the value of pool service and then screwing over customers. Did you have you run into any of that?
Where people have underbid me, where I, Yes, I absolutely have. I've had people. I had a friend of mine he did repairs. This was a long time ago, and I asked him to come take a look at something for me, and then when I wasn't there, he underbid me and stole the account from me. Absolutely.
He stole your account. And
yeah, because he underbid me. Yeah.
And what kind of service did he offer that customer at the lower rate? Was it good service, or did he screw them over too?
Well, no, what he did, as a matter of fact, so I let it slide. I don't think he screwed them over, but what I have come to realize just this past 2 months ago, he gave me some of his pools. This is another thing he did. I told him, he wanted me to buy pools from him, like 2 months worth. And then when I went to each of these pools and he gave me the list, he was just charging them so low amount of money and not charging them for salts or anything else. So that when I was like, okay, sure, I'll do your pool, but this is my price and I charge extra for salt and whatever. No, they didn't want me because he's doing it for so ridiculously cheap.
Well, is he a legitimate business? Is he an actual, and he's insured and all that?
I don't think he has a license to do repairs. I've now realized that.
Okay.
Not real stupid, but.
And that's a problem, right? Unlicensed contractor work?
Oh, yeah.
So.
Absolutely unlicensed, yeah.
Are you familiar with these people that undercut the market, actually burning potential customers for the rest of us, leaving a bad taste in their mouth so that they shy away from pool service companies?
Yes, absolutely.
So are you familiar with the term BPOS?
No.
It stands for Battered Pool Owner Syndrome.
No.
Okay, I have one final question for you, because you know that Andrea is part of this. Andrea, your daughter, this is Paulette, Andrea's mom. Andrea, your daughter is part of this podcast, and we've been attempting to get a hold of her out in the field today, but apparently she is missing. We think what may have happened is that one of these pop-up pool service companies that underbid the market are potentially aliens and have abducted her.
I know car issues yesterday, so not sure maybe she's trying to help him. I don't know, but
so you don't.
Now you got me worried. Thanks. Now I'm gonna have to call and send out the school to find my daughter.
Do you think it could have actually been aliens?
Could have been aliens.
All right, everybody. This has been Paulette. Paulette, tell everybody who you are and who you're with, so give yourself a shout out.
Paulette at Pools by the Sea.
Paulette at Pools by the Sea. So you heard it here first. Apparently, Andrea's mother is now concerned that aliens have abducted her daughter. That's Andrea Nanini, part of the Talking Pools podcast. We're going to try her again on the phone and see if we can't get a hold of her right now. So let's just see what happens.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
It looks like her phone is now off.
722.
Let me try that again just to make sure, because right now this is concerning as the search continues.
Forwarded to an automated voice message.
Nope, it looks like her phone is off. That's also alarming. And traditionally, aliens, when they do abduct people, one of the first things that they do is they take their cell phones away from them and turn them off. So this is really leading us to believe that she is possibly now in a spaceship somewhere hovering above the planet, unable to do pool service work. And again, this is because of the pool service companies that have come in and undercut the market and do not have the experience and ultimately do a poor job with service, burning the customers, leaving them with battered pool owner syndrome. If you are unsure, ask to see the pool service company's license. You might be in an area where licensing is not required, so you must be aware of that. Some states do not require licensing, and in that case, you should not expect to see licensing, but do your due diligence. If you are in an area that does require a license for a repair or any type of service work, make sure that that company is able to present that.
The pool is green because, much like my spaceship, algae just falls from the sky.
Make sure that you check to see that the company that you're dealing with has liability insurance. That should be the case in all areas of the country. If a pool service company is looking to take the water out of your pool, do understand that liability insurance generally does not cover a pool popping up out of the ground. Yes, it is true. A pool can pop up out of the ground if you take the water out of it. Water is extremely heavy. It weighs 8.33 pounds per gallon. Multiply that by the amount of water you have in your pool, and that is one heavy son of a bitch. So when the water comes out, if the groundwater level is high, that pool can pop up right out of the ground like a boat. So make sure that you do also hire a professional that has the additional insurance. It is called pop-up insurance. Ask to see it. Don't just take their word for it. There's nothing wrong with checking somebody's credentials, and if the person is a qualified professional, they're not going to have any problem showing it to you. But they must have pop-up insurance if they're going to take the water out of the pool, because if that pool comes out of the ground and they do not, their general liability insurance is not likely to cover it. Guess what? Your homeowner's insurance is not likely to cover it either, which means you have no choice but to sue this person and hope they have enough money for the necessary repairs. If they do not have enough money for the necessary repairs, unfortunately, this repair is going to be on you, and it is going to be awfully expensive. Repairing a swimming pool that has popped up out of the ground can easily cost you 3 to 4 times more than just having a pool installed in the first place. Think you can just give up on it and call it quits and bury it? In certain states, you cannot bury a swimming pool. Hello, Avery.
Yes.
Hey, Avery. This is Rudy Stankiewicz with the Talking Pools podcast.
Yes, sir.
So
okay.
I had to ask you a couple of questions. First off, in last week's episode, you referred to the current condition of the industry as a shit show. And Andrea and Nini and I have decided that we're going to hashtag that and to go with hashtag shit show. Hashtag shit show, giving you full credit for the current state of the industry. What has driven you to this opinion that the industry is currently a shit show?
Just availability of chemical, of parts, of whole goods. Not price gauging, but just the inflation of everything right now.
So you don't think that there's price gouging going on? I've seen buckets of tablets for $600.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you go online and search for chlorine tablets, I've seen some on Amazon, an 8-pound bucket for over $300.
And that
is insane.
That is a total and complete shit show. I was going to hashtag where's the bleach, but then you came out with shit show, and it just seems so much more appropriate. So we want to make sure that you get the proper credit for that. I did have another question for you, because today we're talking about people undercutting the market, pool service companies that pop up, unexperienced service companies out there that come into a market and attempt to gain business by having an extremely lower rate. Do you have any, or have you run into that at all?
Not in my market, no. I mean, there's always guys that are cheaper. We're probably one of the most but we're probably one of the most expensive service companies in my region, my area of the state.
And people,
but I don't have an issue with people coming in and undercutting my prices.
And people don't mind paying the higher price when they go with you?
No, because the service and the support that we provide, we pride ourselves on communication. I mean, if I'm awake, I'll answer my phone or respond to a text, no matter what day of the week it is. We go above and beyond for our people, and I think they realize that and appreciate it, and they're willing to pay a premium for it.
Well, that's fantastic. And what's the name of your company again?
Edwards Pool Construction.
And you're located in?
Wichita, Kansas.
So Avery Edwards Pool Construction in Wichita, Kansas. I have a couple more things. Are you familiar with the term BPOS?
No.
BPOS, when one of these people come in and undercut the market, they typically don't have enough money to do the job correctly. I'm sure you understand that. And what they end up doing is burning potential customers. So we've developed the term BPOS. It stands for Battered Pool Owner Syndrome.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah, we got a lot of that up here, too.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
So one final question. I've been searching for Andrea Nannini. She's my partner in this podcast. You know Andrea, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and she's apparently missing. So I've called her mom and sent her into a tizzy, which is sad.
She's missing?
She's missing. I've been trying to contact her. We think that these pop-up pool service companies are largely run by aliens, and that Andrea may have been abducted and is currently somewhere in outer space. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I mean, it sounds kind of believable.
So you do think it is possible that she's currently hovering above the planet in some spaceship somewhere, unable to do her pools?
I mean, anything's possible.
Well, what we think they're doing is trying to clear their way, get the knowledgeable pool professionals out of the way by abducting them and then beaming them up to some spaceship. So that way they can't clean pools, paving the way for them to roll in and undercut the market.
Yeah, that's logical.
Okay. As long as you're on board, do us a favor, please. Look over your shoulder. Make sure that the aliens are not coming for you. Make sure that you're prepared. We know that we know that you were a perfect pool girl, weren't you?
I was.
You were.
2019.
The 2019 perfect pool girl. So
Yeah.
Andrea was also a perfect pool girl.
Yeah, the year before me.
So you could be next.
Yeah, I may be on their list.
Watch out for aliens, Avery.
Yeah, I'll watch my back.
All right, that's all I have for you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Rudy.
#shitshow.
Yeah, #shitshow.
So that was Avery Edwards. You heard it right from her. Perfect Pool Girl 2019, pointing out that Andrea was the perfect pool girl in 2018. There's nothing wrong with wanting to start a business as long as you start the business correctly. Nobody has a problem with some friendly competition. It's healthy and it's good for the industry. However, when somebody comes in and decides to compete on price instead of competing on service, that's when the problems occur. So the right way to start your company, if you're thinking of starting a company, so that you don't have to be one of these alien splash and dash abducting pool service companies, is to get the education first, make sure you set your business up as a legitimate business, and do make sure that you have licensing if it's required in your area and the proper insurance you need to do the jobs that you're about to take on. Nobody has a problem with that. That's the right way to do it, and that's what everybody would like to see. In fact, the environment is actually very helpful, and there's a lot of folks in different areas that are willing to help. I know in the Talking Pools Facebook group, it is a very helpful bunch of 2,500 pool professionals, from aquatics to pool service companies to everybody in between, across the nation and around the world. So any questions you needed answered could be helped out there. And of course, you do always have the option to work for somebody first, which is the absolute best possible experience that you will gain. So again, thinking of being a pool service company, do it the right way. Get the licensing, get the insurance, get the education, and roll out onto the road as a professional instead of a splash and dash alien. We will continue to keep you up to date as the search for Andrea Nannini continues. Now we return you to your regularly scheduled program.
I'm Rudy Stankiewicz.
And I'm Andrea Nannini.
And this has been the Talking Pools Show. We'll see you guys next week.
Are you a pool professional who values education? Check out the certification classes available at cpoclass.com. We have online options for CPO, AFO, and pool algae specialist. What are you waiting for? Go to cpoclass.com now.